Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how I use different colored leads to help me plan out my composition where I want to overlap elements. So for example, in today's video, I'm going to be drawing a snowman, which is what I'm currently doing, and then I'm going to also letter the quote, chillin' with my snowmies. And in the past, I used to just, do the lettering and then do the drawing separately, and it always just felt like it was just two different elements that existed on the same page. It didn't feel very cohesive, like a full composition. And so lately, I've been experimenting, and I realized that the best way, personally for me, to make sure that the whole piece feels like one thing and very cohesive, is to overlap lettering and illustration. The problem with this is that it's very easy to do on the iPad because you can work on separate layers, you can move things around, it's a lot easier digitally. But when you're doing it on paper, overlapping the words and the illustration or just anything in general can lead to a lot of very confusing marks. Like, am I supposed to erase this one? Is it in the foreground or is it in the background? And sometimes it can just be a little bit confusing with all the different lines that you're creating. So for me, I found that using different colored pencils can help allay that confusion. So this blue lead that I'm using in my mechanical pencil, it is erasable, which is very convenient for when at the end when you want to erase all your pencil marks. But if you can't find lead that is colored and is also erasable, you can also just use a color pencil, especially if you plan on doing color or inking everything in black or a thick black or a black fine liner. So it's a lot easier, to cover the different colored pencils that maybe you can't erase as cleanly as a regular pencil. So as you can see, I'm just now writing my text, and I'm overlapping, to make sure that the letters are formed perfectly. It's important to just draw out the letters anyway. In the past, I used to just try to imagine where the overlap would be and then cut off my letters where I think it would be, but it doesn't look very natural personally when I do that. So I'm just writing out my letters and my words how I normally do with my composition, and since it's snowmies, I'm drawing a little snowman head in the place of O. So you can still incorporate other illustrations into your composition, even if you have one big illustrative piece already. So I'm going to just do what I normally do, which is create the lettering style, which is mostly going to be bubble letters, because snow is round, snowman is round to me, so all the main words are going to be bubble letters. But yeah, like I was saying, using the different colored pencils, you can easily see what needs to be erased when you're done. So for me, I want to put chillin' in the background, so behind the hat. So what I'm going to do when it comes to inking or erasing, I'm just going to make sure I don't ink the bottom portions of the I or the L, but also making sure that the little piece on the right sticks out for the L. And then for snowmies, I want it to be in front of the snowman. So in that case, I'm just going to ink the text completely, and then just make sure the blue lines of the snowman I don't ink. So this is just a visual way for me to keep track of what I want to erase or what I want to keep versus what I don't want to keep. And this is the most useful for me when it comes to overlapping pieces of elements. I like to start off with a thin fine liner, I've mentioned before, because it's easy in the future, after you color it in, if you feel like you don't want to have a thick black line as an outline, it becomes less obvious if you start off with a thin fine liner. And then if you do want a thicker black outline, you can also just go over it with a thicker fine liner, which is what I often do. I always think I never want to keep the black outline, but then at the end I feel like it brings more contrast to the lettering or to the composition, so then I inevitably always use a thicker fine liner to go over the black outline again. But that's a personal preference. If you like to just focus mainly on color, you don't even have to outline it in black ink. You can just go ahead and color in according to your color scheme, whatever you decided, and then forgo this whole step. But for me, I like to be able to see before I color in where my lines are delineated, which one's going to be in the front, which is going to be in the back, So I always do start off with a black fine liner. And also the good thing about using a thin fine liner is, you know, there are so many elements, especially on the snowman, that's kind of small. Like the buttons and the eyes, the little charcoal, and especially the little snowman head, because it's so small. If you use a thicker fine liner, it's going to, you know, make your lines look very dark, which means it's going to be quite black, and it might turn into a black blob. So just something to keep in mind. But I hope you found this tutorial useful, using different colored inks or leads to help you not get confused with your composition. Have a wonderful day.